So Insta360 have reached out to me with a special Flow 2 Pro offer for you guys. So if you use the special link in the description below, you're going to get the Flow 2 Pro AI Tracker package for $139.99. Plus, you're going to get a free MagSafe mount. And with the recent release of the DJI Osmo Mobile 8, I thought it'd be a good opportunity to compare the two gimbals. In this video, I'm going to go over the differences in features and performance of both these gimbals, and by the end, you're going to know which gimbal is right for you. The Osmo Mobile 8 comes with the gimbal, a pouch, a magnetic clamp, 2 USB-C cables, and the multifunctional module. And this is an AI tracker, a wireless microphone receiver, as well as a fill light. The Flow 2 Pro comes in different options, but to get the AI tracker, you need the AI tracker bundle. And that comes with the gimbal, the AI tracker, which is also a fill light, a magnetic clamp, a USB-C to USB-A charging cable, and finally, the good old pouch. Both gimbals have extendable handles. They both got inbuilt tripod legs, as well as a 1/4-inch screw so that you can mount your gimbal to a tripod if you want to. The DJI handle extends a bit further than the Insta360's, but there's not that much difference. When you pull out the tripod legs of the DJI, they actually all come out together, whereas with the Insta360, you need to pull them out separately, so it does take a little bit longer. But on the DJI, they're rather small and plastic, while the Insta360 tripod legs are metal and they're longer, so, that makes them more stable. So when it comes to looks, the DJI kind of has that classic Osmo Mobile gimbal look. It hasn't really changed all that much, whereas the Insta360 gimbal is a little bit more unusual and inventive and kind of futuristic looking. There's a transparent arm and there's the mirror, which actually has a function, so it's not just for the kind of sci-fi vibe. On the other hand, the DJI has brought back the counterweight mounting port on the roll axis motor that we last saw with the Osmo Mobile 5. And this allows you to counterbalance any lenses and any filters, within reason, because more important than the weight of your phone plus extras is where the weight is actually distributed. And also, they've added a USB-C output port on the roll axis, and you can use that to charge your phone via the gimbal. The Flow 2 Pro also allows you to charge your phone from the USB-C port on the roll motor, and this is the same port that you would use to attach the AI tracker, but you will need to provide your own cable. So the DJI gimbal is a little bit lighter in weight, but both gimbals have a max advised payload of 300 grams. Now, both gimbals have a wheel which can be used to control zoom or focus. The control wheel of the Insta360 is really one of my favorite aspects of it because you've got everything in just this little one area. So both gimbals allow you to change modes and zoom in and out one-handed, but what I like about the Insta360 wheel is being able to switch cameras with just a little quick twist of the wheel. So that's really handy. And with the DJI, you can zoom, but you can't just easily switch from main wide to ultra wide or telephoto because it doesn't kind of snap to the camera like the Insta360 does. And so you just find yourself twisting the zoom wheel, and if you want to get to like the telephoto, you basically easier just to tap on the screen. The downside of the Insta360 wheel is that it's either on or off, whereas the DJI wheel zooms slower if you turn it slower. So both systems allow you to switch the wheel to control focus instead of zoom. With the DJI, you just press the wheel like a button to switch between modes. With the Insta360, you have to use the app. But I would say that the DJI is better for shooting focus pulls using this wheel. So when you have the gimbal app open, the Insta360 gimbal allows you to swipe on the control wheel to switch shooting modes, like, the modes within the app. So in other words, you can switch from photo to video, slow-mo, pano, and so on. With the DJI Mimo app, you actually have to swipe on the screen. One feature the Insta360 has that the DJI doesn't is the selfie mirror. And this mirror, which is on the roll motor, helps you to frame yourself when you're using the rear camera. So basically, if your head is centered in the top of the curve of the circle, that should be centered in the frame as well. So tracking is really most commonly used for tracking people, but both AI tracking modules now support pet tracking as well. So both gimbals have 3 forms of tracking now. So we've got the in-app tracking, and then there's Apple DockKit tracking, and both have a detachable AI tracker as well. In terms of features, the apps are pretty similar, but the Insta360 Flow 2 Pro can track whole groups as well as assigning a person as the main focus. On the other hand, the DJI multi-person tracking doesn't really compare because all it does is tell you that it can see more than one person, and then it allows you to choose which one to track. So if you want to record a group of people, the Insta360 is going to keep the whole group centered, while the DJI is just going to center the person that you told it to track. So if you have the MagSafe mount instead of the usual clamp, then the Insta360 has an advantage here, because while the DJI tracker requires that you use the regular magnetic clamp, the Insta360 AI tracker actually attaches to the roll motor, and so that means that you're free to use the MagSafe attachment. So if you want to quickly remove your phone from the gimbal, with the Insta360, you just have the phone pretty much with the little MagSafe. But with the DJI, you're going to have the big clamp with a multifunctional module stuck to it. The advantage of the DJI AI tracker is that it's also a wireless mic receiver for up to 2 DJI wireless microphones. And as well, it allows you to charge your phone while the mics are connected. Now, when you're using the app for tracking, the Insta360 has an auto zoom tracking mode, and that automatically zooms in and out as the subject moves to keep them, roughly the same size in the frame. And the DJI does not have this feature. Both gimbals indicate when tracking is activated using a light on the gimbal, so that just helps you to know that you're being tracked. But the Flow 2 Pro has this green strip that you can, pretty easily see from all angles. Whereas the DJI has a small light on the AI tracker and another small light on the top of the pan motor. So I'd say that the Flow 2 Pro light is a little bit easier to see, especially at distance. While both gimbals support Apple DockKit for iPhones, when I was testing them, I found that the Insta360 gimbal worked a little bit better than the DJI gimbal. Now, DockKit only works with the AI tracker removed, and that's the same for both gimbals. So the idea is that once you go through the setup procedure, you shouldn't have to go through it again. But I found that with both gimbals, you often have to reconnect by holding your iPhone against the NFC area of the gimbal. However, with the DJI, I had to keep doing this every time that I went into the Mimo app. So for example, let's just say that I was using DockKit and a compatible app like the iPhone's native camera app. So okay, the square around my face goes yellow and it should now start tracking. And when I switch out of the native app and go into the Gimbal app, DockKit connection is then switched off. So again, both gimbals are the same. But when I go back into the native camera app, the Insta360 gimbal reconnects to Apple DockKit, but the DJI gimbal does not. And what I found was that then you had to then hold the phone against the NFC area again and go through this whole setup procedure, and it takes like 2 or 3 minutes. So when it comes to Apple DockKit, in my experience anyway, the Insta360 gimbal is the winner. So both of the AI tracking modules use gestures to allow you to start and stop tracking. But when I tested both together in identical conditions, the DJI OM8 could only recognize my gesture when I was close to the gimbal. On the other hand, the Insta360 Flow 2 Pro was able to recognize my gesture even up to about 10 meters away. So both gimbals can now track things, objects or animals or people when you're zoomed in. But which one does a better job? So again, in identical conditions, with both zoomed in to 5 times, I'd say that they both did a fairly similar job. Perhaps the Insta360 was a little bit better at recognizing the goose that I was trying to track. But I did find that, once the tracking was lost, the DJI Active Track, it just seemed to kind of give up. And then you just get this red, I'm quitting box. On the other hand, the Insta360 gimbal was a bit more persistent and it just kept looking for the goose. So okay, it found a different goose, but it's understandable, they look identical. But the point is that it didn't just give up. So I'd say the Insta360 wins when it comes to zoom tracking. Like with most fold-up gimbals, both of these have a limited tilt movement. And what this means is that if you want to shoot something like a rising crane shot, then you need to move the gimbal sideways. But the Flow 2 Pro gets around that with the introduction of free tilt mode. All you have to do is twist the pan motor 90 degrees and it automatically goes into free tilt mode. And now you can shoot those nice lifting crane shots without having to move the gimbal sideways, so it's kind of easier to get it to go straight up and down. And it also opens up a few other tilt shot options as well. Both gimbals also allow you to angle the pan axis motor so that you can get different angles. With the Insta360, you can only tilt one way, while the DJI can now tilt both ways. And this is going to enable a low angle shot. So of course most fold-up gimbals do allow you to shoot from low angles, but DJI's idea here is that you can now hold the gimbal in front of you. It's kind of like as if you're walking a dog, and I'd say that's basically what this is for. It's for dog tracking shots while you're walking a dog. So if I had to choose between this and Insta360's free tilt mode, it's kind of a no-brainer for me because free tilt mode, it allows a classic cinema shot, whereas the dog POV shot is, well, I don't have a dog, so it's not going to appeal to me anyway. But seriously though, of course you could use it just for a low angle. But for me, I think I'm going to be using the free tilt mode more. The Insta360 Flow 2 Pro introduced limitless 360 movement, so the gimbal could pan a full 360 degrees without limits. And so it seems that since February, DJI engineers have been busy catching up, and now their gimbal can also do this. The DJI Osmo Mobile 8 supports remote control via an Apple Watch using the DJI Mimo app, and this allows you to view the camera feed, control the gimbal, and enable active track remotely. You can adjust the gimbal's position, you can switch between landscape and portrait modes, and you can start or stop recording directly from your Apple Watch. The Insta360 Flow 2 Pro also allows you to use your Apple Watch to control some functions remotely. You can preview the camera feed in real time, you can adjust the shooting angle, and you can control features like centering the gimbal, switching between front and rear cameras, you can enable the flash, and you can trigger live photos. And you can also activate quick rotation to rotate the gimbal 180 degrees. And you can also manually switch the tracked target in multi-person shots. Now, the Insta360 gimbal has an advantage over the DJI because you can, through the app, connect a second device and then use that for preview as well as some basic controls. And this allows you to enable various tracking options and more. And I actually found that this feature works with both my iPhone and my Samsung smartphones. So these days, getting smooth footage from our smartphones is usually achieved using a gimbal and the phone's own stabilization kind of working together. And sometimes I'll use slow motion and add extra stabilization when editing to make it even smoother. But if you have an iPhone 17 Pro or Pro Max and you want to shoot ProRes RAW, then you're going to find that the phone's stabilization is going to be disabled. And that means the stabilizing effect of the gimbal becomes even more important. So which of these gimbals does the best job? So I tried both gimbals with in-phone stabilization switched off, and I didn't really see too much difference between them. So how do the gimbal apps themselves compare between each other? Well, the Insta360 app actually offers a few unique features that are not available in the DJI Mimo app. So like I just said, we've got the remote control via a second smartphone. The Insta360 app also includes a built-in teleprompter feature, so you might find that useful for on-camera speaking. And if you combine it with the Flow 2 Pro, it allows you to shoot genuine 360-degree photos, and that allows the viewer to change the camera angle. You know, just like a photo that you might shoot with a 360 camera, like the Insta360 X5, for example. Now, while the Mimo app only offers HDR Dolby Vision, on compatible iPhones, the Insta360 app supports ProRes and Apple log recording as well. If you're going to use the Insta360 app, then you're going to get a better experience for color grading. And as I mentioned earlier, the Insta360 app can track and keep a whole group in frame, whereas the Mimo app can only track and center a single subject. Dual view mode allows you to view and record video from both the front and rear cameras at the same time. And you can move the picture-in-picture to wherever you want on the screen, and you can also switch between the rear or front camera being the main image. One Mimo app feature that the Insta360 app doesn't have is parent and kids mode. And this mode uses facial and body detection to keep both adults and children in the frame, and it makes it easier to film kind of candid family moments or vlogs featuring parents with children. So in my opinion, the reason why DJI have kind of released a new version of their OM gimbal so soon after the last one, it's less than a year, you know. Usually they wait at least a year. And I just think that they got kind of outflanked by Insta360 with the Flow 2 Pro. And it was a little bit of a shock, and they've quickly tried to catch up. But do you think they've actually caught up? In my opinion, not quite really. There's still, the only reason to buy the DJI, I think, is the multifunctional module, you know, the capacity to add a wireless mic and charge your phone with that. Or maybe you just like the design of it, the shape of it, and you don't like the futuristic sort of angle of the Flow 2 Pro. But what do you think? Maybe you've spotted some things that you prefer with the DJI. Let us know in the comments. And with the price, the Flow 2 Pro is actually, at the moment anyway, more expensive unless you use my link down in the description. You're going to get $30 off, so it's actually cheaper than the DJI now. And you're going to get a free MagSafe clamp. So I just want to say actually massive thanks to everybody who you know, is joined on Patreon. It really supports the channel. You can actually join for free, and you can do a 7-day free trial if you want to access all the courses there. And the other thing is that, of course, I will be there to help you out. Maybe you've got some issues with some kit, some technical issues, or you just want some kind of creative feedback. And also I just want to say thank you to everybody who's purchased one of my books, because I've actually got 3 books now out on Amazon, and they're actually doing pretty well. So I want to say a big thank you to everybody who's bought one. So that's it for this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.